Dry firing is a question that comes up a lot. Shooters ask whether it's an important part of the sport, whether the top guys spend a lot of time dry firing. I think that dry firing is a practice technique that needs to be utilized quite a bit, and especially during the early years when you're learning and refining your technique. It would be nice to have the luxury of being able to do all of our practice live fire. There is an added benefit to be able to train all the time while shooting live ammunition. But for most people, that's not really possible. Going to the range every day and shooting thousands and thousands of rounds every week is not going to be possible or feasible for most people. And being able to dry fire does let you practice many technical elements of the shooting sport, of IPSC shooting, without having to travel to the range, without having to spend the money on the ammo. When dry firing, you don't have that constant feedback from the target, which can be a good thing, but it can also be a distraction, and it can take your attention away from the technique that you're trying to practice. When you're dry firing, it's easier to focus inwards. It's easier to stay focused on what you're trying to teach yourself. It's also easier because you can usually do that by yourself, so you're not influenced by what other people say or think or comment to you while you're training. It's a way to improve your skills without distractions, and it's a way to do it cheaply and at home. When you are dry firing, try and keep it as realistic as possible, and do incorporate the element of aiming into your dry fire practice. What I like to use is an array of targets, which are usually downsized, small targets, so that I can practice while putting them on a wall, which is only 2 or 3 meters away from me. I can still get a realistic sight picture as if the target were larger. Double Alpha and others make sets of dry fire targets, and it's a useful tool to use. Use your shot timer. Your shot timer will enable you to respond to the beep the way you do in competition, the way you will on the range. It enables you to set par times, which can keep you practicing with attention to the speed and the rhythm of the different techniques that you're trying to improve on. Use this equipment and make sure you practice it regularly. I find that shorter, more frequent sessions are more effective. In other words, I think it's better to practice 3 times a week for 20 minutes rather than once a week for a full hour. One of the nice things about dry fire is the setup time is short. You grab your gun out of the case, out of the safe, you put on your rig, you're ready to dry fire. Make sure you do it safely though. If you're going to have magazines with dummy rounds in them for the weight, make sure those are dedicated magazines for your dry fire. Make sure you check that there's no ammunition anywhere in sight, because as we all know in this sport, accidents can happen if you're not paying attention.